Now, I repeat, Nigeria, the state is a dysfunctional state.
Hello and what's up, guys? In today's video, we are diving into something truly eye-opening. I will be talking about Bishop Matthew Kukah and the powerful insight he shared in his recent interview with Channels TV. What he said about Nigeria and the type of government we are actually practicing instead of democracy might just leave you stunned. Now, for those who may not know, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kukah is a prominent Nigerian Catholic bishop. He currently serves as the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, situated in the northern region of Nigeria. But there is more to him than his title. Bishop Kukah is widely recognized for his bold and fearless stance on social and political issues, especially when it comes to defending the rights of minority groups in Nigeria. His influence extends far beyond the church, as he frequently participates in both national and international forums to discuss critical topics like religion, society, and politics. So stick around, because what Bishop Kukah reveals about Nigeria's governance will challenge the way you think and spark a conversation we all need to have.
The people, by the people, for the people. We define democracy, but then we never really ask what kind of people are we talking about here. So perhaps you can speak to what you hope to achieve for the people who are mentioned 3 times and democracy once in the definition of democracy.
Well, let's suspend Abraham Lincoln's definition of democracy in Gettysburg and know that this is Nigeria, where the standards don't apply. Another form of government is called plutocracy. Plutocracy is government which is actually perhaps what fits the government of Nigeria. That we are practicing a plutocracy, not a democracy. Because who are the people that matter in Nigeria? They are the people with the means. And the plutocracy is government by rich people for rich people. So then, of course, you have another system of government that is called theocracy, which is that is a government by divine anointing. Only those who the state, the religion, the state and heaven are basically the same realm. Then you have a system of government that focuses on patriarchy or whatever. So there are all kinds of systems. We do not yet have the institutional capacity to live and align ourselves with the principles of democracy, where you're talking about one man, one person, one vote. Well, guess what? We are living in a society where the big man's mentality suggests very clearly that a driver and his oga cannot have. Mentally, yes. And this is what you have seen now in the capacity of people with money to compromise the wishes of the people. So we are still a far cry away from the ideals of democracy being a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Ours is a pretty dysfunctional environment where most of the rules don't apply, where lawlessness and people making up their own rules as they go along is the norm of the day. And this is why religion has found itself in a toxic mix. Now, I repeat, Nigeria, the state is a dysfunctional state. It doesn't have the capacity to protect its citizens. It has not shown enough capacity to provide for its citizens. It has not shown enough capacity to prove that citizens come first. This is why you now find the importation of the divine into the political. I'm a priest and a bishop, and you may probably feel scandalized when I tell you, look, if it comes to voting for the president of Nigeria, I don't want a president who fears God, because there is no way of measuring fearing God. I want a president or a governor who fears the Nigerian voter. Unless and until we get to that point, the fear of God will continue to be imported largely as a fraudulent excuse, for stealing elections, as a fraudulent excuse for governing badly, as a fraudulent excuse for not delivering, because somehow we've come to a point in which now, rather than Nigerians focusing on holding the feet of their leaders to account, they say, well, we live and for God, because somehow God will do it for us. In a democracy, God holds the universe in the palm of his hand, but human institutions are managed by human beings. And as I said, for us, what we're trying to do in this conference today is to show what good religion can be. But right now, because of the nature of the Nigerian political environment, we're finding that religion is being conscripted into politics with consequences both for the ordinary citizens of Nigeria and with consequences for the integrity of religion itself.
He even went further to say that the tragedy of Nigeria's political landscape is deeply rooted in the very heart of our political culture. As Bishop Matthew Kukah passionately pointed out, political parties in Nigeria have become nothing more than vehicles to ascend to power, vehicles that are conveniently discarded once power is secured. This practice has created a sense of disillusionment among ordinary Nigerians, leaving many feeling that politics offers little to believe in. It is a harsh truth, but one that we must confront. Now, let's pause for a moment. If you are finding this conversation thought-provoking, make sure to like this video. It really helps spread the message. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to stay updated on more critical insight like this. Trust me, we are just getting started. And now, back to discussion. The ball is indeed in the court of the political class. They must realize that power comes with responsibility, not just to rule, but to inspire a disciplined culture of governance, rooted in nobility and ethics. In every thriving political system, political culture serves as the backbone, shaping not only the leadership, but also the aspiration of the people. But where do we stand today? Are we nurturing ethical leaders or simply recycling the same system that betrayed the public trust? Bishop Kukah's words should resonate deeply with every Nigerian because they speak to our shared desire for genuine leadership. What are your thoughts? Drop a comment below and let's have an honest conversation about the future of Nigeria's political culture. Share this video if you believe this message needs to be heard far and wide. Hear the Bishop Matthew Kukah story that will break your heart.
So what can political parties be doing internally to structure in regards to their leadership, the leadership structures within political parties?
Well, political parties are very fundamental, to how politics operates. All of us are, as Plato said, we are all political animals. So all of us are involved in politics at different levels. In the same way that all of us can kick football, there's a difference between you and the person who is playing for Arsenal or Manchester United. They are professional footballers and they're earning tons of money. They've decided that's what they want to do for a living. Now, those who have decided they want to make politics a career, it's a noble vocation. But the tragedy with the Nigerian situation, which really started with the military interventions, was that we lost confidence and we lost trust in politics and political processes. Otherwise, as you can see, almost every presidential elections we've had in Nigeria, we've had them under different political platforms. In part because people lose and they don't have the discipline to stay the course. They simply jump ship. So for politics to stabilize, political parties are the foundation. And if there isn't discipline within the political parties, you cannot have followers. And the problem is that because the politicians have turned political parties into mere contraptions and vehicles for ascending to power, vehicles that once they ascend to power, they literally kick away. This has resonated negatively in ordinary Nigerians who think that, look, there's nothing for them to feel very strongly and very convinced about. So the ball goes back to the net of the political class, that they have to create nobility around politics. They have to establish discipline, culture, because finally, in every political process, there's what you call political culture. And political culture speaks to the ethical choices that members of parties have to imbibe, a certain level of discipline that members of political parties have to imbibe. So for me, those are the issues. And what we're trying to discuss here is to help the political class in Nigeria to understand that there's a way things can be done differently.
Okay, let's take a look at all the registered political parties in politics, the main players. There always seems to be factions within these political parties. And correct me if I'm wrong, since 1999 that we went back to democracy, there is no one particular party chairman, maybe except for one, that has completed his tenure. What should be the address here?
Well, this speaks to the logic of the disruption. And the disruptive nature of Nigerian politics, which often starts at the top, because whom the president wants and whom the president doesn't want determine who is going to be chairman of a party. And secondly, you have people who are carpetbaggers. They just throw in their hat into the ring. And some people decide that maybe a ruling party or a bigger party decides it wants to fish in your pond. And it does so by either directly or indirectly sponsoring people in order to disrupt the processes. So it's the business of politics and political parties to defend their territory. Because politics in Nigeria is not about conviction. And I think we will probably get to a point, I don't know when, where politics can become believable. But there has to be a culture that people can go back to. There have to be individuals with outstanding discipline and quality of life that make politics believable. So the disruption you see within is largely because politics is like in Nigeria, like people who have just appeared before a carcass. Everybody is come with their knife to slice whatever they can slice. So people who belong to a party can take money from another party in order to disrupt the processes in their system. This is why, like I keep saying, the quality of men and women who are in this process remains quite questionable in terms of the kind of choices and recruitment processes and the decision as to who is going to be party chairman. What kind of qualities do you need in a person who is going to be chairman of your party? Because he is really the poster child of the party. But you are not going to choose somebody just on grounds of their capacity to manipulate a system and get outcomes. You're not going to choose people who will probably just surround themselves with other thugs and bandits around them to enforce outcomes. As I said, you can see that, like I said, 95 million Nigerians register out of enthusiasm to vote. But by the time of voting, people have become so disenchanted that only 20 million Nigerians turn out. It could be worse next time. So, as I said, 99% of all this depends on how people behave themselves. But finally, if you use the football metaphor, supporters clubs members of supporters clubs in football now have a voice. Because as you can tell, very often their decisions about a particular player will force the coach to act in a particular kind of way. So we must not see ourselves as spectators. We shouldn't see ourselves as, many good people say tonight, no, we're not interested in politics. You must be interested, because if you're not interested in politics, politics is very much interested in you, and it's beyond elections, right?